up here in Seminole County, past the subdivisions, past the streetlights, past the last place your GPS still makes sense. There's a stretch of road where the night feels heavier than it should. They say if you're on Snow Hill Road after midnight, you'll see a single headlight coming straight towards you. Bright as a freight train, blue around the edges, wobbling just a little like it's floating. 1 minute, it looks like a distant car. The next, it's right on top of you. And when it reaches the bridge over the Econ River, it vanishes without a sound. They call them the Oviedo Lights. And tonight, we're going for a drive. Welcome back to Greetings from Florida. I'm your host, Joe Torino, and tonight we're digging into a Central Florida roadside legend that's been haunting Seminole County for more than 60 years. A glowing blue orb that races down a lonely back road, a light that looks like headlights until you realize there's no car behind it. This is the story of the Oviedo Ghost Lights. To understand the Oviedo Lights, you have to picture what this place looked like long before the subdivisions and bike trails appeared. In the 1960s, Oviedo was a rural farm town. Celery fields, citrus groves, cattle pastures. Snow Hill Road was even wilder than it is now. 2 narrow lanes cutting through thick woods with almost no lighting and even fewer houses. Locals describe the area as pitch black at night. The kind of darkness where your headlights just disappeared into the trees and the silence felt like it was leaning in around you. The Econ River only added to the atmosphere. It's a dark, quiet body of water winding under a simple bridge. No houses near the water back then. No canoe launch, no traffic noise. Just a bridge in the middle of nowhere over a river moving slow through the swamp. And this is where the lights began appearing. Most stories agree on a few consistent details, and even the earliest newspaper reports from the late 1960s describe the same thing. A single bright light traveling straight down Snow Hill Road toward the Econ Bridge. At first, it looks like an oncoming car, but as it approaches, it never splits into 2 headlights. It stays one solid wobbling light with a blue hue around the edges, bright enough that people compared it to a train lamp instead of a car. And right as it reaches the bridge, it disappears. No sound of an engine, no passing vehicle, just the road, the trees, and the river below, like something was there and then it wasn't. Back in the 60s, teenagers would dare each other to park near the bridge with their headlights off, watching the dark to see if anything moved. Deputies patrolling the area reported seeing strange lights, and almost every family in the area had their own version of what caused it. Once the stories started, they spread fast, and each generation added their own interpretation. Some were creepy, some were tragic, some downright bizarre. And many of these tales were already in circulation by the time UCF, then Florida Technological University, sent physics students out to investigate in 1969. One of the oldest stories is about a Cub Scout. According to legend, the boy wandered away from his troop during a camping trip, holding a lantern. He got lost in the wilderness and was never found. Today, some locals say the light you see on Snow Hill Road is that lost lantern, still trying to make its way back to camp. Another tale tells of a teenager playing chicken on the road. She tried to run across Snow Hill in front of an oncoming car, misjudged the distance, and was struck instantly. The blue light in this version is an echo of that moment, frozen in time. There's also the story of two boys who supposedly drowned when their car slid off the curb and into the Econ River. Their bodies were trapped inside the submerged vehicle. People claim the blue light vanishes at the exact spot where their car sank, as if replaying the final seconds of their lives. A darker version involves a young couple whose car died on the road one night. The boyfriend walked off to find gas, while the girlfriend waited alone. She woke up the next morning. He still hadn't returned. She found him off the roadside, his body torn apart by something no one could identify. Some say the blue light isn't a ghost. It's the thing that killed him. And then there's the story of the headless boyfriend. This one circulated in oral history so consistently that even reporters noticed it. A couple is found the next morning. The girl is unconscious inside the car. The boyfriend is outside, his head burned clean off and set on the hood like some kind of warning. No records ever backed it up, but the legend refuses to die. There are tales of a girl who tried to run back to her car as the light approached, only to be struck by a wave of heat that burned her back. Again, nothing official supports it, but in folklore, belief sometimes matters more than truth. There is one tragedy tied to Snow Hill Road that is completely real, documented in Orlando Sentinel archives, court mentions, and cemetery records. On July 16, 1963, a 17-year-old named Norbert George Hyman drove out here with friends to shoot fireworks near the Econ Bridge. They were just kids enjoying a Florida night. When they finished, One member of the group, a 20-year-old named Richard Pearson, went ahead to get the car. The others walked back towards Snow Hill Road. For reasons no one's ever fully understood, Pearson drove towards his friends with the headlights off. In the pitch-black stretch of Snow Hill Road, the car was practically invisible. 3 of the boys heard it in time and jumped out of the way. Norbert didn't. He suffered fatal injuries. Reports note head and chest trauma. But before Pearson brought Norbert to the hospital, he stopped to drop off the other passengers at their homes, a detail reporters highlighted because of how strangely it reads. By the time they reached Winter Park Hospital, Norbert was pronounced dead. He's buried in Oviedo Cemetery. His gravestone still holds his photograph, a boy frozen in time, tied forever to this stretch of road. And while nobody at the time connected his death to ghost lights, many locals now wonder whether the legend started growing shortly after that moment. A single bright headlight on a dark road, replaying for decades. The swamp gas explanation gets brought up a lot. Methane and phosphine gases rise from decaying vegetation, and in rare cases, phosphine can spontaneously ignite. This could create small floating flames, often bluish or green, the classic will-o'-the-wisp. But will-o'-the-wisps don't follow straight lines. They don't keep pace with moving cars. They don't vanish at the same exact bridge every time. In 1969, physics students from Florida Technological University, now UCF, spent nights along this road trying to figure out what the light was. They interviewed witnesses, ran tests, even published a 3-part investigation in the school newspaper. Their final statement? Insufficient information on which to base a concrete scientific opinion. Science shrugged. Ghost lights aren't unique to Oviedo. Folklore all over the world describes floating flames and wandering orbs. In Europe, will-o'-the-wisps drifted above bogs, sometimes lighting the way, sometimes luring travelers to their doom. In Texas, the Marfa lights appeared as bright orbs dancing above the desert horizon. Scientists have studied them for decades, with no clear explanation. The Brown Mountain lights in North Carolina have been recorded since at least the 1700s. Blue, white, gold, drifting above valleys. Australia's Min lights chase cars across the outback. Some believe they're spirits. Some believe they're mirages. Some think they're something else entirely. And here in Florida, Seminole stories talk about spirit fires, lights appearing near rivers or burial grounds, often as warnings or protectors. Put simply, The Oviedo lights fit perfectly into a global pattern. Ghost light behavior that defies easy explanation. Over the decades, stories kept coming. Here are a few more that stood out. Some passed down through families, some mentioned in interviews, and some just strange enough to linger. In 1969, two canoeists pulled their boats out near the Econ around 1 a.m. As they strapped gear onto their truck, they noticed a green-blue reflection on the water. When they looked up, a light hovered above the bridge railing. Steady, silent. One of them stepped closer. The light shot upwards into the trees like it had been startled and vanished. In 1985, a man driving home from a late shift said he noticed a bright light in his rearview mirror. He assumed it was a motorcycle because it had one headlight, until the light rose higher than any vehicle could. It followed him for half a mile, keeping exact distance, before drifting into the woods and disappearing. A group of UCF students went looking for the lights in 2001. They parked near the canoe launch and walked onto the bridge. After 20 minutes, a bluish orb appeared between the trees. It floated out onto the road, silent, slow, steady, crossed 30 feet ahead of them, and dissolved into the mist. These stories aren't documented in official archives, but the consistency is uncanny. One bright light, blue tinted, silent, moving with purpose, and always disappearing at or near the Econ Bridge. Early UCF reporters made the same observation. The Oviedo lights behaved less like headlights and more like classic ghost lights, intelligent orbs seen near water since long before electricity existed. Seminole spirit fires fit the pattern too. Lights that appear as warnings near dangerous land or water. In many of these stories, the lights aren't meant to hurt you. They're meant to guide you away from something, or towards something. If you drive Snow Hill Road today, you'll find a mix of houses and wilderness. But once the pavement stretches past the last porch lights, the darkness returns. The Econ Bridge is still narrow, the river is still black beneath it, the pines still crowd the edges, just enough to make the world seem smaller. If you ever come out here, go carefully. Stay off private property. Don't stop on the bridge because it isn't safe. And above everything else, don't underestimate how dark and quiet this place can get. Maybe the Oviedo Ghost Lights are swamp gas. Maybe they're headlights. Maybe they're the echo of a tragedy. A young man on a dark road in 1963 whose story never fully left this place. Or maybe they belong to that strange middle ground Florida does so well. Something not quite explainable, not quite dismissible. Something that sits between folklore and physics. Whatever they are, the Oviedo Ghost Lights have been part of Seminole County for more than 60 years, and the roads have a way of remembering things, especially the dark ones. So if you're ever out on Snow Hill Road after midnight, and you see a single bright blue light coming towards you, moving too fast, too steady, and it doesn't split into two headlights, don't wait around to see what crosses the bridge. Greetings from Florida is written, researched, and narrated by me, Joe Torino. Sound design and production by yours truly, with original theme music by Modern Mimes. You can find more stories, photos, and episode extras at @FloridaPod on Instagram, and visit FloridaPod.com for links to listen on any platform, plus the official merch store. And if you like what you hear, share the show, leave a review, or tell a friend who loves a little weird with their history. And as always, stay weird, Florida. We'll see you next time.